What are the laws around change of vehicle ownership?
Your sale agreement in respect of a vehicle is completed when the vehicle is registered and a new registration book issued to the other person. What is of deep concern is that a car can be sold 10 times without the ownership being changed. We are passing through Zinara. Say you have debts, you haven't paid your tolls, they are able to see whether this car is registered. It's possible for you to buy a stolen car from a car dealer because most of them will not carry out any due diligence. If you are the purchaser of the vehicle, it was not registered, and you now want to claim from insurance with respect to accidents, like hit and run accidents especially, when there is an armed robbery in which that vehicle is used, it will inconvenience you immensely.
Hello everyone, it's Expertly Speaking once again. My name is Farai Mwakutuya, and today we are joined by Advocate Fortune Chasi. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Farai.
Now, today I want to talk about something that we often read about in the papers when these things go bad. Someone sells their vehicle to a new owner. The new owner then perhaps infringes some law, gets into a traffic accident, breaks the law, and it's the old owner that ends up being in trouble because there was no change of ownership.
Yes.
Could you tell us what are the requirements or what are the laws around change of vehicle ownership?
Well, in terms of the Vehicle Registration and Licensing Act, your sale agreement in respect of a vehicle is completed when the vehicle is registered and a new registration book issued to the other person. But like you say, it's commonplace that many people buy or sell cars and transfer of ownership doesn't take place. The seller thinks it's the duty of the buyer to take on the burden of having the transfer done. That may be so. But like you say, when there is an armed robbery in which that vehicle is used and the police investigate and locate the vehicle as being owned by the seller, they'll go for the seller. It will inconvenience you immensely. And what is of deep concern is that a car can be sold 10 times before or without the ownership being changed. So all the people that are in this line of sales and purchases are at a risk. The police will trace to this initial seller who will say, I sold to Farai. Farai will say, I sold to Fortune Chasi. Chasi will say X, and so forth. Now imagine the inconvenience to the police. And in the meantime, the initial seller cannot be released from the sales by the police. They have to take that person to court because
they are the ones.
You are the owner of this car as far as government and official records are concerned. So I would urge that members of the public, when they sell vehicles, they must execute an agreement. It can be a simple agreement, but it must have the actual details of the buyer. In other words, look at their ID or some other identification document, passport. Confirm this is the person. Where do they stay? You can ask for their latest bills. And you keep your own file at home. In the event that something happens, or in the event that the person does not actually eventually change ownership, you have a very good starting point.
To argue your case.
Yes, to present to the police. Yes, this was my vehicle. I sold it 10 years ago. This is the ID of the person. This is proof of their residence at the time. they have somewhere to start from. So on that basis, they may formulate the view that, no, he's not involved. But when you have nothing and the vehicle is still in your name, you will have a problem. You also have problems. Now, government is implementing a very good and important electronic products in this particular area.
Mm-hmm.
You are passing through Zinara, say you have debts, you haven't paid your tolls, they are able to see whether this car is registered or deregistered. And you find that all these things can come back to bite the person who sold the car.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Is there anything, the responsibility or the burden falls, as you said, on the person who has bought the vehicle? So I suppose there's a step further. Apart from compiling my file and all this evidence, I must then follow up to say, Mr. Chassis, have you changed the ownership? Show me
Yes.
this is done.
I think that's a secondary step.
Mm-hmm.
What I would urge is go with the person to the vehicle, central vehicle registry, to ensure the transaction is finalized.
Mm-hmm.
Because you and me know that people don't register these vehicles. But apart from all these other liabilities, you will have a problem if you are the purchaser of the vehicle, it was not registered, and you now want to claim from insurance. Insurance is very strict and systematic about their processes. Can you prove that the car was yours? It wasn't. You don't want to have all those arguments.
Mm-hmm.
So it's imperative that people actually register these vehicles.
Very important. And I think a lot of the time, a lot of people almost surrender their fate or these procedures to car dealers, because the car dealers say, I know buyer B, just give me the document, sign this agreement of sale, give me your ID, it will be sorted. And we assume that it will be done.
Yeah, that is another very important area where I think there are so many assumptions. We think that because somebody is running a car dealership, they are straightforward. Mm-hmm. It's possible for you to buy a stolen car from a car dealer, mm-hmm. because most of them will not carry out any due diligence. So if they are your agent and you're buying a car from them, you need to ask them for these documents that I've spoken about. Mm-hmm. Can I have a copy of this person's ID? And also their own identity as a business, so that you have it on file. Yeah. If anything hits the roof, then you have, some of these are one-night stands, mm-hmm. They run, you go back where you bought the car, it's no longer there. Mm. You see?
Well, the car dealer is not,
yeah, so it still remains your responsibility, but I think that it's also an area that needs proper regulation, mm-hmm. insofar as this problem is concerned.
I think, as you quite rightly mentioned, technology is the answer to all of this.
It is.
It can make life a lot easier just in terms of verifying and being able to do that.
Yes.
What remedies do I have where I've sold the car to you, Advocate Chassis? Mm-hmm. I've implored you to say, let's go to CVR and do this change of ownership. Mm-hmm. But you just are not, you are refusing to cooperate. If you refuse to do this, what remedies do I have?
Well, I think you need to inform the authorities that, preferably in writing, by authorities I mean CVR, mm-hmm. To say, I've sold this car. If you're able to inform the police, even better, so that in the event that something comes back to you, you have documentary proof. You have your letter, which you took to CVR, and they stamped your copy, which you remained with. I advised them that I'd been looking, I've been asking this person to transfer. They have not done so. They don't appear to be willing to do so. Here are their details. The authorities should be able to find a way of dealing with that. But if you are also able, I have in mind, for example, the the vehicle theft squad would deal with issues of stolen vehicles, because that vehicle can then be stolen from the purchase and be used in a robbery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's worthwhile communicating with the authorities and informing them that this is the position. You are not making a police report. This is purely informational. Yeah.
Have you come across how commonplace are these cases where someone lands in trouble because of vehicle is used in armed robbery or some sort of crime?
Yeah, that happens quite often, especially with respect to accidents, like hit and run accidents, especially. Yeah, somebody causes an accident, or they actually don't have to cause the accident themselves. They might be victims of negligent driving by another driver, and they say that, well, my car is finished here. I don't want to get into any discussions. They just leave the car and they forget about it. And the individual who remains with the problem looks to the person reflected on the number plate.
Indeed. If you had a piece of advice to anyone who's contemplating selling a vehicle or buying or selling, what would it be with respect to these legal issues we've just been discussing?
Yes, I would say that as with anything, it's better, even if it's a cash sale, to have a written agreement. Why is it better to have a written agreement? You put all your conditions in there. For example, you want to say you are selling the car Voetstoots as it is. You want to be able to identify the seller. Like I said, give me a copy of your ID, your proof of residence, know where they work, anything else that can bolster your position in the event that there are problems. I would say that's why some people will do an affidavit confirming that this is my car. I own it, blah, 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 and I've sold it for so much. I have been paid. Because when somebody takes the car and it develops problems, they'll come back. They'll come back and say, this car has problems. Engineer Kanoka. And maybe they are the ones who have caused it. So it's very important to set out the details pertaining to the condition of the car, identity of the owner, the sale conditions, and so forth.
A lot of the time, these contracts, again, I'll come back to car dealers, they'll say, we have a standard agreement, just sign it. And many people will sign without really reading the contents.
Yes. I think my warning to the public is that there's no such thing in these circumstances as a standard agreement. Yes, you need to create your own agreement based on your identification of the person, the condition of the vehicle itself, the payment arrangements. All these cannot be standard to everyone. They are specific to each transaction. So you need to be very careful. They may have spaces where you have to fill. And if you want to create more space, you should be able to do so in order to elaborate on the details of your contract. Yeah.
Very importantly, as you are saying, let's just not leave these things to other people.
Yes.
Specify and be specific. Enforce what it is that you want.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be fearful of doing that.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Advocate Chasi, for breaking that down for us. It is Expertly Speaking with our guest, Advocate Fortune Chasi. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found value in this discussion. Please do engage with us via our digital platforms. Subscribe, like, follow us. Would love to hear from you. My name is Farai Mwakutuya. Join me again next time.